Hi, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. As you may or may not know, I have been a software engineer for about 9 years now. And to be honest, my relationship with money has grown better throughout the years. And I have taken the steps to tweak things make sense for my budget, for my personal finance, and for my life. And I've made a few mistakes along the way. And so I want to talk to you about some of those mistakes I made so that you don't make those same mistakes that I did. Let's get to it. Mistake number one is not having an emergency fund. Like, you need to have one. There is no non-negotiable for this, especially how things are looking like in our world today. You for sure need to have at least 3 to 6 months of savings put aside somewhere else where you do not touch it. And it is there for you to access for if you have an emergency and you need to pay your monthly bills. Now, a lot of people say, okay, how much should I actually have in my emergency fund? Well, that is up to you. Okay. But ideally, what you should be doing, and what I encourage you to do if you're not already doing it, is keep a budget for yourself every month. Track how much money you're spending in different areas. Then you will know how much you need to have per each month in order to survive should something happen to you. I would advise to keep this in a high yield savings account so that it's easily accessible, but yet it's also kind of away from your normal checking account as well. Mistake number two. So in my last video, I was talking about my savings, and I mentioned that I had put money over at Fidelity, and yet I did not invest that money. So this mistake has to do with not actually pushing the button to make your money be invested. And I know it seems kind of silly, but if you are early on in your investing journey, or your saving journey, or you just, maybe you just got a job and you're trying to figure things out, you may not know everything, right? And that's okay, right? But it's important to not just put money over to an investment account. You then have to take the step to decide what stocks and index funds that you're going to invest into. And so that is how your money starts to grow. For instance, in my Fidelity account, once I realized I was not actually investing the money and the money was just sitting there, not gaining any interest or anything, I said, okay, I'm just going to invest in VOO stock. It's an index fund that I heard a lot about, and I felt confident after looking to see what that index fund entailed, like what's all inside that index fund. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just put some of my money in here. I then also chose a few others that I would like to invest in as well. But on a recurring basis, I put the money into VOO. Mistake number 3. So, not using your credit card points. With credit card points, you put your purchases on a credit card. Okay, you ideally earn points or miles through whatever credit card you have, and you can use these points or miles. Sometimes they are miles, sometimes they are points, and you can use those for different purchases. For instance, if you want to get cash back, if you want to put points toward, traveling or something like that. I was going to book a trip and use a good amount of my points, miles that I had saved up, and I was going to book a flight and book a hotel using my miles. It would have cost me nothing because I've already paid for it technically. So I'm going to use it now. So it can come in handy, especially when you just want to treat yourself to something. I will say this about credit. Please use credit responsibly, okay? Don't spend more than you have available to pay back to those people, because they will be wanting their money back, all right? Mistake number 4 is not increasing your credit limit annually. Again, I will urge you, please use credit responsibly. Your credit is so important, and your credibility is important as well. But credit utilization affects your credit score. If you have a higher credit limit and then you spend the same amount of money, then you have a lower utilization. And that is going to mean that you have a better score. But if let's say you increase your credit to, let's say, $2,000, right? And then you spend $2,000 extra dollars. That did nothing for you. And your credit score will be affected by that. What you want to make sure is that annually you are increasing your credit limit on your credit cards. And I would keep this information for myself. I keep it on my spreadsheet so that I know when I last asked for a credit increase for various different credit cards. So I know like which one to ask for a credit increase next. Number 5, not maximizing your 401k match. This is so important. A lot of times when you are working a job, especially when it comes to really, I can't say if it's all jobs these days, but definitely check to make sure what your employment situation looks like. When you invest in 401k through your employer, sometimes they say, hey, we have a 3% match, right? That means that they will match. If you put 3% in, they'll put 3% in, or up to 3%, okay? So I would start there. The bare minimum, you should be investing 3% because they're going to match you 3%, right? That's technically free money. So you want to make sure you're taking advantage of stuff like that because it really is important. It will maximize your amount that you have saved up in the long run. Mistake number 6, not having sinking funds. Okay, what are sinking funds? Let's start there. So sinking funds are money that you set aside for a specific expense that you'll have in the future. Now, what this could look like is different because everyone's life is different. For myself, I will say that I have a miscellaneous fund that I call, and for right now, its main purpose is for birthday celebrations, like I mentioned in my last video. You could also have a sinking fund for auto repairs. You can also have a sinking fund for health emergencies as well. So if something comes up, you have to pay a deductible. If you set that money aside into its own sinking fund, then you'll be able to reach that money if you need to. I recommend using a high yield savings account for your sinking funds. I would urge you to have at least a couple of sinking funds because you never know what kind of emergencies are going to come up. And let's say you have to make a $500 car repair and you weren't planning on doing that this month and you don't have $500. Your first line of thinking could be, hey, let me just put this on a credit card. It'll be fine. But think of it this way. What if you had $500 sitting in an account that was earning you interest as well because it's in a high yield savings account. And then you're able to go to that money and pull that money out of your account and use that. Now, that doesn't mean you can't still use the credit card. Yeah, obviously, get your points, okay? But you could swipe the credit card and then pay it off as soon as the transaction has posted. That's a better feeling than being able to say, okay, I got to swipe my credit card because I don't have this money. And now I got 22% interest rate. And I urge you to also think about this. It's better to owe yourself money than to pay interest to a bank. So I have done this plenty of times where I take money out of one account and I pay my credit card with it. And I'm like, okay, great. I owe myself $500. That's a lot better and a lot less riskier than saying, hey, I owe this bank $500 and they're going to charge me 22% interest if I don't give them their money in a certain amount of time. So think of it that way as well. Bonus tip number 1. So pay your card off every month. I kind of hinted towards this in the video, but it's important that you budget. This is how budgeting can fit into your everyday life because it will give you peace of mind. For instance, every month I go through and I make a budget for myself anytime I get paid. And I say, okay, these are the things that I'm going to pay for with this paycheck. And if there's some things off Amazon that are sitting in my cart that I want to buy and my budget says there's not enough money for that, well, then I'm not buying it. It's important to also be honest with yourself too and not try to stretch the money that you can't see. So if you don't have it in your account, as far as I'm concerned, the money doesn't exist. So I urge you, please pay off your credit card every single month so that you do not burden yourself with excess amount of money that you're going to have to owe somebody else. Bonus tip number 2. So don't lend money you expect to get back. Only lend what you can afford to never see again. The idea here is that if let's say your friend comes up to you and say, hey, I need $50 for some gas money. And you're like, oh, okay, when are you going to give me my gas money back? And then they'll be like, oh, well, I mean, I should have it in, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks or something. That doesn't sound very promising to me. So I learned a long time ago to never expect my money back. If the money leaves my hand, I'm not expecting for it to return unless it was something where, hey, I paid for this on my card and we're all splitting this 3-4 ways and you'll give me my money back. That's fine. But in terms of like somebody just saying, hey, I need some money from you, and they don't know when they're going to give it back, that's too risky for me. If I don't have it to give you so that you keep it and I don't miss it, then I don't give it to you. Those are the rules for me. Doing this protects both your finances and your relationships. So that owing money to somebody, expecting for it to come back and all that stuff, that can definitely put a strain on relationships. So what you don't want is for that to start affecting other areas of your life. So again, if you don't have it, then say you don't have it. I don't think they're going to be too mad at you that you have to pay your own bills and that you can't afford to give them $50. People will find a way. Trust me. Think of it as a gift. And if they do give it back to you, it's a pleasant surprise. Put it back into your account and just say, hey, well, I got an extra $50 this month that I wasn't planning on having whenever they give it back to you. Think of it that way. So that's it for me. Those are the mistakes that I made, and hopefully you learned from them. And I also included a couple extra bonuses in there. So hopefully you'll get something from this information. What are some of the mistakes that you've made? Okay, I want to know. Put a comment down below. What are some things that you've learned throughout the years with managing your money, right? And conversely, if any of these tips helped you, please write down below like which one was most beneficial for you. All right. Listen, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself and be kind to others. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.